Hi.
Hi, Maria.
How you doing?
What's going on? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. So it's podcast day number 11. Or
Are you
week.
excited? I'm so excited that we're on number 11.
I know, I can't believe we've done, I keep saying that, like, I can't believe we've done so many, but it just seems like it wouldn't have been that much. But today we're talking about reaching your audience virtually. So this topic is super important because the pandemic has forced us all, no matter what our professions, no matter what our trade, no matter what our craft is, it's forced us all to rely solely on technology and streaming platforms to stay in touch and to reach our audiences. And so I think that as much as we think of this in regards to media and arts and sometimes even finance, it's really touched us all. And I think that there's something that we can gain from just reflecting on it and seeing in what ways we can use this idea of reaching our audience virtually to further what we're doing, even when the pandemic is over.
Yes, we're going to be able to utilize this knowledge that we gained during the time of COVID and expand our business initiatives and the way we do things. And so everything that's happened with COVID, we can't go back to the way things were. We have to adapt and be flexible and move forward.
Yes, I agree. So I think that anyone with any type of business employment can find this useful and can take it a step further in some way. And so the purpose of our podcast today is to challenge you to think about what we're saying and see in what ways you can use this new technology lifestyle, streaming, tech, constantly being the main source of communication, the main source of business development, the main source of just reaching people while we were shut in, to use it to add another layer to your everyday practices, whatever it is that you're doing, or if you're going to start something new, maybe there's something within reaching your audience virtually that you could use to take you a step further or give you something, a new avenue that you hadn't explored before. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think that having to reach your audience virtually has made things more difficult for business, or has it made things easier for doing business?
That definitely depends on the type of business.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people that work in manufacturing and the industries and all that stuff. But so it's definitely harder in that sector.
Mhm.
When it comes to people that do work like we do, or sales online. So consulting, sales online, working with companies and vendors, products that are more service related rather than actual physical things. Then it might be an advantage in that. With the products, some can be shipped. So that's also probably an advantage. With the bigger items, obviously, if you need to manufacture them, then that probably is where the problem is. So COVID has made business difficult for those types of manufacturing people, but I think it's become better for everybody else in that it's made us more in tune with technology, with the internet, with our audience on the line, and making sure that we are present more on the platforms that we do actually have. So I think in actuality, it's probably a positive thing where we're progressing and transitioning to more online work rather than hands-on. You probably were, if you were doing business before online, it might have not been as fluid as it is now. So you've been able to progress more. All of your focus has turned to your platforms. Does that make sense?
Definitely. And speaking of platforms, I think one of the biggest set of platforms that we have to focus on now is social media. Regardless of what kind of business you are, service-based, entertainment-based, product-based, manufacturing, social media is really important just to have a presence, just to have a way for people to see even snippets of what you do, just get an inside peek to gain some insight into your company, to engage with you, as another way to reach you, as another way to accredit you. So I think that social media presence is a must, and it's definitely something that we can use if we're not currently using, all of us as a whole, everyone watching this. Um, find ways to make social media work for you. One social media platform is not going to be the same as another for you, and how you use your social media platforms is going to be different and largely based on what you need. So I think that that's definitely something worth exploring and figuring out. Okay, maybe it's daunting, maybe it's new, maybe you're tired of it, maybe there's been an overload of social media during the pandemic, but at this juncture, how do you make it work for what you want and what you're doing? And what do you think
Very
about it?
good point. So COVID has tested all of us, and it's tested us to see if we can adapt, be resourceful.
Mhm.
And if we can't, then we fall by the wayside. We need to have that chameleon mindset. Be adaptable, resourceful, flexible. I'm repeating myself, but it's true. And you have to think ahead as to what is happening with the economy, where the new platforms are coming out with social media right now. TikTok, right? TikTok's like the biggest thing with everybody. But we also have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We will name them shortly. So if we have a flashback to those big company examples that failed in the past because they didn't progress and adapt to the situation that was happening, it would be Blockbuster and Toys R Us. Okay, Blockbuster did not want to follow what Netflix had as a business plan because they didn't think that anything was going to happen. It was who's going to watch movies online. Meanwhile, now everybody's trying to copy Netflix's business plan, including Disney. Disney Plus, hello, big deal. So Toys R Us was only selling stuff in the store, a biggest toy maker ever. And now they're just online, a small place. And who actually goes to Toys R Us online? So
Oh,
if you don't adapt, then you're gonna be left behind. You have to think ahead. You have to actually be knowledgeable and read up on what's happening. Check the news. Check your resources, newspaper. I don't know. I get the Morning Brew in my inbox every day. Retail information, things like that. So definitely educate yourself on that. And I guess we can go into social media now, right?
yeah. I mean, it's definitely forced us to find new ways to reach our audience. And what better way to do that than social media? You mentioned TikTok. That's a huge one. It's a really great way to entertain your audience and get them engaged with you while still being lighthearted and fun about it. Some people actually use TikTok to be very informative, like a lot of tax firms, tax consultants, finance consultants, account managers. They use TikTok to make these 1 minute info videos that are similar to this, but sort of how to's and breakdowns of things. There was a lot of TikTok info videos happening around the stimulus checks. There were so many updates, like 1 minute updates. And so people really drove their audience that way by just providing information.
Yeah,
That's,
it's brilliant. There's consultants out there that are utilizing the platform and doing very short videos for showing you how to get a job, for example. There's one person I know, which I will post the link in the comments later, but she's just doing video after video of how to pass an interview, how to get a job, how to help you actually articulate yourself when you are talking to somebody. What questions are they going to ask you when you're trying to get a job or something like that? So it's useful for people out there. And that's just an example of the sort of stuff that's out there. There's other consultants, or let's say a person that deals with therapy or just coaching or things like that. They are on the platform as well. And so that's also their business. They're trying to get themselves noticed. They're not actually selling anything. They're just getting their name out there, and doing these videos and just doing short bits telling you, okay, don't date a narcissist, or they're talking about how to have a healthy mindset, yeah, all sorts of stuff. And it's very useful, and it just gets their name out there. They're not doing anything. They're not selling. It's important to get yourself noticed, branded.
Yeah, and in that way they are branding themselves. And I think that social media now is so much more flexible than it used to be, that sometimes it's worth just taking a step back from how you were approaching it before and even starting over, just looking at what you're doing and deciding how do you want to approach it now. Social media is your playground to mold and use and shape however you want it to. And there almost aren't any rules anymore.
That's true. That's true. It's a convenience that we have. It saves time. Uh, yeah, it does a lot for us. Social media builds our followers. Social media just gets our name out there on various different platforms, like LinkedIn, for example. We talk about LinkedIn all the time, right? How useful is LinkedIn to you?
Well, it's been our platform for these podcasts for the past 2-3 months. So it's been very useful for us to just get the word out and start building a following, creating interest for what we want to share with you guys. So we've been using LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yes, yes. And we have other social media sites that you might be using because you're doing something else that's different in your business, such as Pinterest, or you're selling stuff on Amazon. You got Shopify. You
Yeah.
have
Sure.
your own website. You might have a mobile app that's doing stuff. There's Angie's List. There's Thumbtack. uh, there's Handyman. There's, yeah, I can go on, and then you can
Yeah.
also do podcasts. So this is a podcast, right? And you can do podcasts on Spotify and on Apple, and you can even do recording on your website.
Yeah.
And that
So
draws you.
yeah, and using all of these streaming platforms, you've probably heard people mention how they use it for marketing or they create a revenue stream. So one of the cool things is that most of these platforms have some sort of ad campaign option where you can promote what you're posting, where you can create ads. Prime example, YouTube ads, you can pay to create YouTube ads where your product, service, or whatever it is that you're releasing, if it's media, video, music, whatever it might be, where it pops up and it's about 5 seconds or so, and it's at random. You don't know whose video it's going to pop up in, but YouTube will circulate your ad based on what you put into it. Google does the same thing. When you see the ads in your Google search, those are Google ads, so you can make your business part of that. You have Facebook and Instagram, and Facebook has actually integrated their ads with Instagram ads, where you can run your Facebook and Instagram ads through Facebook directly, or you can run the ads separately on each platform individually through the apps. But they are integrated now that Facebook owns Instagram.
And sorry, just to interrupt on that, when you are actually posting your videos or your posts on Instagram, for example, make sure the word integration comes into play. Make sure that you have your Facebook connected to it, so that if you do have a Facebook page, it automatically populates there. It saves you a step and it goes straight onto your Facebook page, and that gets that other audience involved. So everything should be integrated. Twitter as well, you know.
Yeah. Yes, so Twitter is not cross-integrated with Facebook and Instagram, nor is YouTube. And you can also separate your Facebook and Instagram. So if you don't really use Facebook, which a lot of people have decided not to do because they don't have the same audience on there that they do on Instagram, which is perfectly fine, you can run the ads separately and just focus on one platform. And sometimes that might be good too, to concentrate on strictly on one platform. You can do the same thing on LinkedIn, where you're targeting your audience through that platform. And then when you're ready, if you so choose, you branch out to other platforms. So you are able to individualize how you do these ads, and that's also great. There's flexibility and you can kind of make it all work for you the way you want.
Yeah, definitely. And just to be clear, when you're doing this, I assume you would be doing this from your business account. So you're not actually sharing it to your personal page. Not sure how everybody is with technology, but just make sure you set it up the right way. So
Yeah,
your family and friends aren't getting these notifications because that would be annoying.
unless you want that. So just be careful of how you set it up and choose exactly what you want and take the time to like look at all the options and look at everything that's available to you. There's a ton of information, so it does take a little time to read through, and you may have some snafus, you might make a mistake here and there, but it's worth exploring to see just how much you can do with each of these platforms because they're not limitless, but you do have a huge variety of options and there's a ton of things that you can do. You have an abundance of ways that you can push yourself forward with the promotions, with ads, with linking it to other sites.
And speaking of that, so I think it's important when you're trying to branch out and reach a broader audience, you want to sit down maybe for a day or two, and actually focus on creating a bunch of content so that you can put that up there. So a day or two for the entire month will definitely serve you better. You can schedule the content to go out at specific times, different dates. So just devoting that time to creating it is going to pay you back for that time lost actually creating it. And I think you should do that probably every month initially until you actually get more followers and all that stuff. And you'll have a whole plan in place. But content creation, super important. If you're not really good with graphics and stuff like that, you can go on Canva. Canva. Canva is very good at helping you create actual content where you can add logos in there, you can add GIFs in there, moving piece, anything you want, and then download it and add it to whatever platform you're using at. So I recently started using Canva and it's super awesome. So try that out. It's just an example. They're not sponsoring us. It's just, we're just giving them a shout out here. So
all of these things can help you generate more leads, which will generate more income just through bringing people to your page. So this kind of falls under the branch of e-commerce. So as far as building your business, creating leads, creating revenue streams through your streaming, if you're streaming media, if you're into videos, if you're releasing music, if you're releasing merchandise, so these things will bring people to you, of course. But it also can just give you an audience. If you're just seeking to be known, you want your name out there, you want your presence out there, you want your brand out there because you want them to be directed to another source of revenue or directed to another platform, or you just have another plan, but you want to use this as building presence as if it were a live audience. It's another great way. So you want to look at your tactic and decide how you want to use social media. Like I said, you can really make it work for you. And it can be your e-commerce avenue, which during the pandemic, everyone had to do that. Or it can just be your presence builder. Like, who are you? You build an audience, you establish who you are, and people go where you want them to go. You build a following, literally, following that will follow you online, wherever it is you want them to go. And eventually, maybe that becomes in person. Maybe eventually that audience will wind up where you want them to in person once we can all be together more.
right. It totally works that way. So I just wanted to add and say that it takes time to build the following. It doesn't happen overnight. If it does happen overnight, did you purchase followers? What, like, don't purchase followers. Okay, you want actual humans to be interacting with you and watching your videos, doing your lives and stuff like that, and commenting. Because if you're purchasing followers, you're actually purchasing bots. Bots are the robots of the actual platform, so they're not real people. They're just numbers. They don't actually say anything. Just
Better to have an organic following, even if it takes longer.
yeah, and it might, if you're actually doing the work, putting in the effort and the time, you're going to grow your business, you're going to grow a following, and you're gonna get your name out there. It's just requiring a lot of patience on your part, you know. Make sure you create that content, put it out there, spread the word, talk to people, you know. Hey, Maria, can you share my post? Like, could you do that? I'll share your posts and, you know, we'll just do that, you know, talk to people that, you know, and see if they can help you out, especially if they're in a similar field like you are in. I'm not going.
Online groups that do that, where you exchange shares and you engage with each other.
Right.
Sometimes people will do that just to get the following and the likes, and then they unfollow you or unlike your stuff, which isn't great. But there are online communities and forums and other avenues where you can engage with people, and you really do get this cross integration where you guys are following each other and engaging with each other's content on multiple platforms. So it does work, but you really do have those people who will quickly disengage because they are just there for the numbers. So you just have to accept that as part of reality, and that's okay. You know, along with those people will come genuine followers.
So to try to override what Maria just said, if that were to happen, try to actually work with people that are helpful and to you, and you could be helpful to them. So you're not just reaching out to some random person. I'm reaching out to Maria because Maria and I work together all the time, and we might actually be working on different projects. So you want to reach out to somebody that's going to help you, and you will help them. You don't, nothing's for free, you know, you want to be there and have some kind of engagement and collaboration. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. If you don't think that makes sense, comment below. So you started talking about e-commerce, right? And how people started to get more into it during COVID, right? So does everybody know what e-commerce is? We're not sure, maybe. It's that.
Give them a little gist.
It's that sales stuff online, you know? So, excuse me. So there are 3 types of e-commerce things out there. Business to business. So websites like Shopify. There's business to consumer, which would be Amazon. And there is consumer to consumer. So a big example of that is eBay. Okay. And if those terms don't make sense, then you can translate to online retailing, electronic market, and online auction. So eBay, online auction, is that, hopefully that makes sense.
Perfect way to explain it. It's very simple.
And then, so e-commerce is driven by the semiconductor industry. So if you wanted to know what semiconductors are, they are the people that create the chips, the computer chips. So that industry is growing. That industry is crazy huge, and e-commerce depends on it. That's how it's been born, and it's definitely going to branch out into bigger and better things. So let me see. Technologies that involve e-commerce would be mobile commerce, so stuff that you do on your phone, sales on your phone.
What can you not do on our phone nowadays? I think
everything. You open the door on your phone, you can do that, you know, close it, open windows, turn on music, lights, everything.
in your house when you start your car.
You can start your, oh my God. That's so, I don't know.
All of us have that though, but it's possible.
It's so extra. Oh my God. And so we have electronic funds transfer, EFT.
We talked about that in the last podcast.
Yeah, we were.
Go check it out if you haven't. It's on our Instagram, it's on our LinkedIn, it's on our YouTube. So double back and check that out if you didn't catch it.
So e-commerce also works with supply chain management. So all those logistics companies, FedEx, even back to Amazon, shipping and handling stuff, and so that you get it faster. They also have the platform where you actually purchase everything goes through e-commerce before they actually send it to you. So I hope that makes sense. Then we have electronic data exchange, EDI, which also works with e-commerce. Information is being exchanged between servers. Inventory management systems, they use e-commerce, and automated data collection systems. So those are just a few examples of where you can see e-commerce. And I have some more information here where e-commerce, more details for you, just a few more, like 3 bullet points, maybe 4.
3 bullet points.
So let me just go quickly. Online shopping for retail sales direct to consumers via website. So that goes back to Shopify. So those are the details that I was talking about. When you're starting your website and you want to have the section on your website where people can go in there and actually buy something, you have to connect the e-commerce portion of it. So depending on what your host is, then that will dictate what the e-commerce platform will be for you. And so you integrate that into your website, and like PayPal, you'll have PayPal, for example. That's the simplest one, right, Maria?
I think so. I mean, I think some people like Venmo better than PayPal sometimes, but yeah.
But you can put that in there as an option. You can have your Venmo, you can put your account name, and people will find you and pay you that way. So that all has security, and e-commerce, the actual platform that comes with it, provides that security, just like the banks provide security when you're doing your transactions. We also have e-commerce integrated into sales through conversational commerce, so like talking to people verbally. You also have live chats. You can purchase something while you're talking to somebody in a live chat. Isn't that cool?
Yes. Phone companies are a huge example of that.
Yes, yes, brilliant.
Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, Sprint.
We also have chat bots. So if there's no human on the other end, you can have an automated system response, and you just select what you want to do. And even you can buy a car policy with the like
Exactly, your insurance policies. I did that with my rental insurance.
it's super easy, right? Like I want this is how much I want for it, blah blah blah, and then you're set.
I even think nowadays, with the way the US healthcare system is, we do that with our health insurance now.
That's true too. So it's
Some of us. I think some
everywhere.
people still have to deal with a representative, but yeah.
I don't think people realize how much all of these things that we're talking about is actually integrated into our lives. And when we actually bring it up, we're like, oh my God, it's everywhere. Like
Yeah,
fintech.
life insurance too, life insurance, property insurance, car insurance. Even though at some point you might interact with someone, it's e-commerce from them, and you're mostly doing it through an automated process up to a certain point, if not all the way through.
So just to continue and finish off with my bullet points. We have gathering information using demographic data through web contacts and social media that actually involves e-commerce. E-commerce has a portion of their whole setting. I don't know how to explain this technically. This is the best way to explain it. They just have a setting thing where they collect information, and you can automate things to go out and market to prospective clients and customers.
They have a purchase agreement to purchase a certain amount of data.
Yes.
And that's a business relationship, which Kat mentioned earlier.
Yes, brilliant. See, brilliant. Let me see. You can also engage people with e-commerce doing pre-launch of a certain product. Does that make sense? Like you know.
Yes, that's huge, right? Especially for entertainment, movies, right?
Yes.
HBO.
Exactly. So it's important. That helps you know your inventory. It helps you produce the specific amount of product that you need. People sell t-shirts, people sell merchandise. You don't want to overproduce, that you're going to lose money that way. You want to have just enough, and work with your retailer to make sure that they can actually produce the amount if it does go up. So a very, very big deal. People use it in everything. And it's very popular now, because like I said, people don't want to lose money, and people write books, people do what Maria was saying, do music, they do videos, everything pre-launch. And I think that's it for my bullet points on e-commerce. I
That
hope
was
that
a
was
heck of
very
a breakdown. I think everyone understands e-commerce so much better right now. I certainly do. I mean, it's such a great way to just like truncate, boom, 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 e-commerce, done.
Yeah, it's super awesome. So if you guys have any questions, definitely put them down in the chat below. I did also want to bring up, what if you want to expand virtual, do like a hybrid type of thing, do virtual and maybe some outside stuff. So in order to get yourself out there, you may want to look into some local places that may be able to help promote you and get your name out there and more known. Sometimes it's better to have your community know you. And this can be done on a local level, or you can continue doing it online and reaching out to different organizations. The word I'm thinking of is sponsors, having sponsors work with you.
Those paid partnerships we see on social media.
Yes, exactly. And that works well with getting you promoted, and having your name out there. You can do simple things at the start. You can reach out to your kid's school, sponsor something, sponsor a PTA meeting. You can bring you can bring cupcakes to the next PTA meeting, put a table out there with your name on it, okay? Or you can do a virtual thing where you're not actually present. You can actually submit something to the school. I'm using the school as an example, and they can give it out to other people and say, okay, so this company has a voucher for something, or 25% off for this type of product, maybe try it out. And all these places, schools, communities have fairs, vendor locations that can also help you. So you can utilize both an online presence and an on-site presence. It just depends on how you want to go out there, and what stage your business is at. We also have local businesses. I've been to locations where artists went out and asked the owners to put their work up on the walls, and then they just price it out. They do they do art, they do whatever. And then we have other business owners that are understanding of the COVID situation, and they're trying to help everybody else that's rising. So they are providing sponsorships on the menus, like putting the people's names on the company names on the menus and stuff like that, or just putting flyers out in the front. It's you can be as creative as you want. Okay, the more people that know your name, the better. Does that make sense?
Of course, to me, I think everyone gets it. These are great ways to, like we said, take you to the next level. And some of them will work for you, some of them won't. But just knowing what they are and what you can pick and choose from is the way to start. So I hope that everything Kat said and everything I said at the beginning has given you an idea of what you can work with, where you can start. And
yeah, I have tons of ideas.
All the ideas, pick and choose what you want to start with and what you think may work for you.
My brain is going and going. I'm thinking of cleanup projects, sponsoring something like that. That doesn't cost you anything. You put your name out there. You're like, oh yeah, Klifftin Lark is doing a cleanup in this community. Boom. There you go. Everybody's going to show up and clean up. You probably have to supply the trash bags, but
yeah.
Environmental friendly. There you go. Now your company is environmentally friendly.
That's a brilliant idea. And like the communities would love that, because we're all in a place where we're trying to do exactly that, be more earth conscious. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So, and what else? I'm sorry, my brain keeps going. You can sponsor a dog park. You can go and do, you can go and get your name out there at a local baseball game for like kids or high schoolers, and you can put a banner out there, you know, people, especially in the summer, people are always out there looking at stuff. So it's the little things. And then obviously you just have to keep going with your presence online and be creative, keep the juices flowing, get some sleep too, you know, like so they do actually flow.
Yes, sleep is so important.
Yeah. I know everybody's going to be successful and everybody's going to try to build content and get it out there and just collaborate, you know, work together, build that following. Don't purchase the bots. Don't do that. Go be organic, like Maria said. That's awesome. So yeah, I think it's great. And I think we also will have a great show for you next week. What do you think we're doing, Maria?
Well, we're coming up with a new host of topics to present to you guys, things that we think are relevant, that are current to where we are, not only in the world today, but in the pandemic, because we've made so many shifts. So they're like, this topic is very relevant, using your audience, connecting with them virtually at this stage of the pandemic. So we're going to be coming up with not a new series, but a new subset. So we will keep you guys informed on that. Do you want to give them any hints? Do you have anyone that you want to start with?
I think I think it would be great to talk about, and this would be a smooth transition from the previous two topics we just talked about. It would make sense to talk about giving value to your clients.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a very great topic for people to tune into, making sure that that content that we were talking about is not just it's not just some kind of content. It's actually helping your clients. You want to draw them in, help them be organic. I really like that term. That's awesome. And so I'm looking forward to that.
We could call it that, organic content.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah. Awesome.
We'll come up with a fun title. We always like to brainstorm on this a little bit before we get started. So that's what we're up to next. And we thank all of you who are watching or will watch this for watching and tuning in. And please like and subscribe to our channels and follow us. Share this with other people who might be interested, and definitely keep coming back, because we love sharing our experience and our information with you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.